Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the launch of the 28th National Safety Awards of Excellence. My name is Richard Cornish. I'm the event manager here at the NSCA Foundation, and I'll be facilitating today's launch. Just some housekeeping reminders before we do commence. Everyone's microphones have been muted, so that way we don't get any additional noises from the audience. We will be taking questions at the end of the launch today, but if you think of them, please send them through as you think of them, and that way when we get to the end, we've got some lined up already. To ask a question, you just need to click that orange arrow button so that the GoToWebinar tab pops open. Then just click the questions/chat tab, and you'll be able to input your question in the text box there and just press send, and I'll see that come through. If you are having any audio issues, you can change it to phone audio by selecting this in the audio tab. A phone number and an access code will then be displayed. So just a quick introduction. As I mentioned before, the National Safety Awards of Excellence is in its 28th year now, and is Australia's longest running and independent awards program. The awards are open to any Australian operating businesses, organisation, alliance or individual in both the public or private sector. Nominations are now open, with the submissions closing at 11:59 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on Friday the 18th of June. Judging will then occur during June, July and August, and we're going to have a live virtual event in either late August or early September where we're going to announce the finalists. That delay just depends if there's any actions items out of judging day that we need to finalise before we can announce the finalists. Once we've got a confirmed date, we'll advise everyone of this. And like I said, we're going to do a live announcement online, just something a little bit different. Bernie, who you'll hear from shortly, suggested maybe like an Oscars announcement, so it should be interesting. All entries will also receive an email letting them know if they're a finalist or not. And then, of course, the gala event is on Thursday, the 14th of October, with the finalists to be recognised and highly commended and winners to be announced at the Awards Gala Luncheon. This will be held in Sydney at Dalton House at Hyde Park. Just as well, running over, I'm sure you've all seen this, but there's 9 categories open for nomination across a wide range of sort of WHS programs and leadership and mental health and wellbeing. Recovery and work system is a new category for this year, and obviously there's a couple of categories there that have subcategories, so then that way that the small businesses aren't sort of disadvantaged by being in the same category as a large business. So you can view all the categories there. They're also available up on the website. And then finally, from those 9 categories, we have the Pinnacle Award, the Award for Excellence in WHS. This final award's actually not open for nomination, but rather it's selected from the winners of each category. And of course, we wouldn't be able to run the awards without the support of our sponsors. And I'd like to thank GIO for their continued support of the major sponsor of the awards. I believe this is the 11th year now that they'll be sponsoring the awards. And also I'd like to thank Actura, Ansell, GIO Workers' Compensation, ProVisual Publishing, Safety Culture, Centres and Teys Australia for their continued support as category sponsors. So that's it enough from me for the moment. So now I'd like to introduce Bernie Doyle, the Chief Executive Officer and Chairman and President of the NSCA Foundation, to officially open the awards for 2021.
Thanks, Richard. And I'd like to add my welcome to everybody as well. And up front, big thank you to our sponsors and also our judges, the unheralded recipients who go through hours and hours and days of viewing your submissions. So as Richard mentioned, this is our 28th annual awards. We're extremely proud that over those 28, maybe 29 years, because we slipped out in one, of course, we've managed to highlight some of the best news stories that are happening in safety within Australia. So as we know, we all took a blip last year, so it does feel like we're coming out of hibernation now, and a perfect time now to review your safety program and how you share that with other people. We have a right to feel extremely positive about where we are at the moment and what the future holds for us. Speaking to the panel before, there's no doubt about it, we live in most probably one of the safest countries in the world, which is only going to get better now as this vaccine rollout continues. So what a platform to review your safety performance, your program, how you've progressed so far, and how you can share that with other organizations. We've extended the categories this year to make it even more appealing to people. And the beauty of it, it doesn't matter whether you're an individual, whether you're a small Australian-based organisation or an international company based in Australia. You all have good news stories to tell us. We'd love to hear them. We'd love to get your submissions. So please look at the categories, share your story with us, and I look forward to greeting you and hopefully even congratulating you at our festival in October. Thank you once again, and the best of luck.
Thank you, Bernie. Yeah, thanks very much for delivering that message. As I mentioned previously, and Bernie's mentioned as well, we can't run these awards without the support of our sponsors, and GIO has been the major sponsor of these awards since 2010. So I'd like to welcome Doris Cambouris, the Manager of Workers' Compensation at GIO Workers' Compensation, to deliver a welcome message on behalf of the sponsors.
Hi everyone, hoping you can hear me and see me. So, and thank you to both Bernie and Richard. Incredible honour for GIO to continue to support these awards and the NSCA Foundation. It's vital for all of us to not only feel safe in the workplace, but also contribute to safety, health and well-being. I don't think any of us should be just innocent bystanders. I believe we should all be part of safety, health and well-being in that workplace. GIO have continued to support these initiatives and these awards, I should say, because it's important for us to see what the broader community is doing, be it large organisations, smaller organisations or individuals. It's really important that we share learnings. Today in our society, any workplace injury is one too many. So GIO have been a proud partner and looking forward to continuing this partnership with the NSCA Foundation. They provide vital information to members and the broader community, and we're certainly looking forward to new initiatives that will be presented as part of nominations. So I do encourage everybody to get in there and put forward some of the great work that we know is occurring. Even though 2020 was quite an unusual and difficult year for everybody, I'm sure we've had an opportunity to look at things differently. So welcome to the launch. Thank you, Bernie, for launching this event and doing it virtually. It allows us all to stay connect. So I'm looking forward to hearing more from some of the questions that are posed to the judges, as well as the rest of this webinar this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you, Doris. So we're extremely lucky, Bernie's mentioned it and I didn't mention it off the top, but we're extremely lucky to have 8 highly experienced judges that form our judging panel. They come from a variety of background and industries, from work health and safety, and you can see there on the screen with the judging panel there how wide variety they are in industries. You look at Ventia, GIO, Australia Post, Moving Minds from a sort of health and wellbeing perspective, Build Up Research, Ventia. So we want to really thank the judges for taking their part. As Bernie mentioned before, they take days and hours of their time to review every single submission and to provide feedback as well. So we greatly appreciate that time. So we're extremely lucky to have them. And Michael Charman leads our judging panel and has done so since 2018. Michael's got over 30 years experience in the WHS and E industry, so is highly knowledgeable. And on that note, I would like to introduce Michael to say a few words on behalf of the judges.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for taking the time to come along and hear about these important awards. On behalf of our judging panel, I thought I'd just give you a few hints and tips about what we look for as we wade through the various nominations each year. Firstly, as Richard alluded to, we do have a very knowledgeable and experienced judging panel. We have people that have had experience in both private and government enterprises. We've had people that have worked with and for regulators. And every year we see a wide range of nominations that we actually learn from as well. And it's always exciting to read through the various nominations in different industries and operations and see what's happening out there in the world of safety. And it's always exciting to see those innovations coming through. I guess the first thing I would say is try and capture our attention early. You need that, that headline catching moment. We read through a lot of pages of nominations, and I would say that the ones that capture our attention early, rightly or wrongly, you tend to delve into more straight away. So, describe your organisation. Let us know what the sort of safety culture is within that organisation. Has it been good? Is it improving? Are you on a journey? What sort of in-house capabilities have you had? Is this something that you've got the facilities to easily do, or is this something you've really struggled to do? What's your workforce like, sort of turnover? Are you in various locations around the country, internationally, or are you just a single site? And then get into the sort of the what, why, how, when and where, and those sort of things are, what was the issue? How was it identified? Was it through someone getting injured, or worse than that, killed? Or was there some sort of hazard reporting that occurred to identify it? Was there workplace inspections being carried out? Was there a compliance breach? Give us a bit of information around that. Then how was the actual solution developed? Was it trialled? How was it implemented? How did you check that it was actually making a difference? Did you have to adjust it as you went along? And what sort of outcomes came about as that because of that solution? And that's important that you do talk about the outcomes. A lot of people give us some really good information on something that they're putting in place that they either haven't seen or they forget to tell us what's actually happened as a result of that. They just kind of think that everybody gets it, that things have improved because of it. Just a little bit about, when it was completed. Has it been completed? Is it an ongoing program? Has it been rolled out to more sites, or is it on all sites? Has it changed the way you operate as a business? So just to sum all that up, it's important that you describe the difference that it has made. Give us that so what moment so we get it. And you can do that through providing us things like injury statistics, data, employee feedback that you've got through maybe surveying the workforce. Has management bought into it? Are they on board? Are they seeing those changes and they want to do more? Have you shared it with any of your companies, maybe competitors or in the same industry, an industry forum? Have you shared that sort of information? Give us that sort of points. Just a couple other points I'd probably raise is any links or attachments that you put into your nomination. Just check that they work and that they're coming through clearly on your nomination. A couple of times we've had them where they don't open. Please proofread your nomination. I know it sounds a bit petty, but grammar and punctuation and spelling do make a difference when we're reading through all these nominations. So please get someone to review it and just check it that it makes sense and it reads well. Make sure that management are aware that you have nominated. Has been rare, but on times we've had an individual nominate something and management have been unaware that they've actually done it. And probably make sure that you don't have any compliance breaches where the regulator's investigating your business at the moment. If that's the case, then it's hard to award someone a safety nomination if they're under the eye of the regulator right now. I think that's my main points. I'd be happy to take questions at the end of the webinar to explain any of those dot points further. But yeah, thanks again, and I look forward to seeing all the nominations this year.
Thanks, Michael. And yeah, as Michael mentioned, he's happy to take some questions. So if you have any questions, especially directed toward Michael, please start sending them through. We'll address them at the end of the webinar, but yeah, please start sending them through, and that way they're lined up, ready to go. So the 27th National Safety Awards Gala Luncheon recognised the finalists and announced the highly commended and winners of each category with the following results. So you can see those on the screen now. The Pinnacle Award Winner, as I mentioned before, that comes out of the category winners, and that was announced as Teys Australia for their Safety Leadership Program. To improve its safety culture, Teys Australia focused on a frontline leadership capabilities and confidence to lead safety. The company adopted a tripartite relationship with academia, industry and government to help develop a series of safety leadership models based on the evidence-based LEAD model. Positive training feedback was received, and on average, workers across several sites perceived positive changes in safety culture. So I'd now like to introduce Tristan Casey, who's representing the winning entry from Teys Australia. Just to sort of, we'll run through some questions with Tristan and get his viewpoint as a nominee of the awards. So I'll just bring Tristan in now. Thanks very much for joining us today, Tristan.
You're welcome, Richard. Sorry, just popping off mute there. Thanks for having me along.
No, that's all right. Thanks very much for joining us. So I gave a very brief overview, but yeah, tell us briefly about the Teys Australia nomination.
Yeah, sure. So I really wanted to emphasise the collaboration that Teys went through. So I was working at Workplace Health and Safety, the regulator in Queensland at the time, and studying my PhD simultaneously. And we found this real opportunity to do some good work in the safety leadership space. So putting that nomination together, we really tried to emphasise that it wasn't just one organisation that was part of this sort of program. It was really playing to the strengths of each contributor. So Teys obviously had the resources and the situation to trial the methods. The government was able to put my time into the project to help craft some of the resources. And then I guess otherwise we were able to leverage the resources of the university to help put that together as well. So really just trying to stress how each party contributed to the nomination. I guess when it comes to the actual program, as you've already outlined pretty succinctly there, Richard, it was a supervisor or frontline leadership safety program based upon a sort of a theoretical or a scientific model of safety leadership.
So Tristan, I believe you submitted the nomination on behalf of Teys and like
yes.
You said, yep, perfect. So how did you find the nomination process? As a nominee, how did you actually find the process of going through the portal and submitting that nomination?
Yeah, it's very straightforward, and the way it's structured, I guess it really helps you to think about whether you do have enough material and evidence to really support your nomination. So I found that as I was going through it, I started to ask myself questions. Have we got enough feedback from the employees? Have we got enough sort of evidence that this intervention's actually worked? And it prompted us to go back to Teys and say, look, we need a little bit more here. Let's go and do an organisational survey, do some benchmarking comparisons, and really take the nomination to the next level. So I think the way it's structured really helps you to craft something that really is focused and to the point, and sort of really concisely describes what it was and how what outcomes or results you observed. I guess when you're crafting that, you've got limited space, so make sure every sentence counts. Really ensure that if you're reading something back and it's just adding, not really adding much value to the overall nomination, just try and cut it back or cull it down. So it's a really, sort of focused submission that the judges can quickly review and get a sense of what you're trying to convey.
All right, perfect. I suppose, like I said, Teys took out the Pinnacle Award. How did you and the team feel about taking out that Pinnacle, that main award from the day?
Yeah, it was a shame because I couldn't make the event. I had a clash with my teaching, but Julia was really pleasantly surprised and sent me the video of them celebrating and really a recognition of all the hard work that the team had put in over the past 12 months of the program being rolled out. I mean, there was a lot of behind the scenes work, like selecting and training the champions, reviewing the materials, coordinating the feedback groups from the employees, because it was all sort of bottom up in terms of the design of the program. So a lot of effort went into it. And so just taking out that Pinnacle Award was really some nice icing on the recognition we already received for the best leadership program as well. And as an early career researcher, it's always nice to see theories become reality, and the fact that we had quite a scientific approach, but it also resulted in some real tangible impacts as well. So that was a really rewarding process.
Perfect. And I suppose, it's been 18 months now since the award launched, and then that program was awarded the Pinnacle Award. So have you been further updating or further developing it since that time?
Yeah, definitely. The award, I guess, generated some interest internally and opened up some doors for Julia and the organisation to invest a bit more in the program. So just recognising that, it was a high quality program, and we had that recognition really enabled things to move further. So we spent some time developing an online sort of supervisory induction and then refresher program that sort of the recent hires or promotions could go through quite quickly. Gives them a bit of an initial sense of or flavour of the leadership program. And then that's supported by other sort of face-to-face and coaching type discussions as they get back into the job and start their supervisory duties. So again, that was a bottom-up process of consulting with workers across the business and doing films, scenarios. What does safety leadership look like to you? What are some of the challenges and recommendations you have as a frontline leader? So really trying to give a voice to the employees across the organisation about what good safety looks like.
Excellent. I suppose we've all mentioned it. We've all lived through it through the past 12 months or so. But I suppose has that lead model needed adjustments during the COVID pandemic? And if so, sort of what sort of adjustments did you have to undertake?
Yeah, sure. So we had the good fortune to track 25 safety managers over the past year or so with interviews every few months, just to see how are they coping with COVID and what adjustments are they making in their role, and also what sorts of leadership factors really differentiated the high-performing organisations from those that might have struggled. And so rather than, I think the lead model still applies as it is, but we found additional skills that might be added to it, which we're calling the ICE model. So involvement, certainty, and empathy are the three kind of critical soft skills or interpersonal skills that good leaders have shown during COVID. So involving people in decision making, getting expert opinions, for example, leveraging their safety managers appropriately, giving people information and certainty where they can without over-promising, and stepping into the shoes of the worker to maintain that business focus, but also empathy about how they might be feeling and being worried or anxious about how COVID's impacting their jobs. So the ICE model is sort of a bolt-on module for lead that may be helpful.
Excellent. Really glad to hear it. And like you said, it's no doubt throwing up challenges for everyone. And just final question, Tristan. Do you have some advice? Someone submitting a nomination, maybe they haven't submitted before, or maybe they have submitted before, and they're sort of looking at what they need to do to sort of help improve their nomination. Do you have that? Maybe a single bit of advice that someone submitting might want to hear.
Yeah, I think it overlaps a lot with what was said previously, but really the one piece that I would add that's a bit different is that dissemination. How are you getting the outcomes of your program out to industry? So it's not just your organisation benefiting and you sort of keeping that as competitive intelligence, but more about how are you maybe partnering with a regulator? How are you talking at a network forum or some sort of association to get that message out and make sure everyone benefits from good safety practice.
Perfect. Thank you, Tristan. And thanks very much for joining us today. Congratulations again. Great achievement to get that 27th National Safety Awards of Excellence Pinnacle Award Winner. And I believe you and Julia are presenting at the conference up in Brisbane in November as well. So we look forward to welcoming you there again as well.
Great. Thanks, Richard.
No, perfect. Thanks very much for joining us, Tristan. As I said, I'm just going to move on to the final item now for today's launch, being a bit of a demonstration of the awards portal. After this, we will be taking some questions, and I've seen some questions come through already as well, so thank you for those that have put those through. If you do want your question to be directed to Michael or Tristan from a judges or a former nominee, please just state this at the start of the question just so I know where to direct that to. So before I demonstrate the awards portal, I've actually got a few tips, as program manager for the awards. So I've program managed the awards previously for about 3 years and back again now. So I've got some tips as well from where the questions I see operationally day to day from people about the process and how to nominate. So these are my tips. So read the nomination guide, the hints and tips document. They're on the awards website, and I'll show you where these actually are as well. Read through that, just get your understanding of what category works for you. What questions are going to be asked, and in that way, it just helps start your process. I've already sort of mentioned it, but review and select the category that best fits your nomination. We will, if when we go through the judging process, that the judges may come to me and say, oh, this nomination actually fits better in another category. So we will move them across if we feel you haven't quite picked the right category. But definitely just make sure you review everything, find the best category that fits your nomination, and then put that through. Then log in, go to the nomination portal, review the questions and the word limits. Don't put them in, don't put your answers in straight away, but just review them and review those word limits. Like Tristan said, each word matters, each sentence matters. So please just review those. It does stick to it. The awards portal does automatically save what you're working on every 30 seconds, but my suggestion is actually prepare your responses in a separate document. And then when you're ready to go, then you can just copy and paste it into the nomination portal. Michael mentioned it before, the spelling and grammar. This gives you an opportunity to have someone else review your nomination. So yeah, that would be my suggestion. Assume the judges don't know anything about your nomination. They judge, so Michael mentioned it, they judge on what they see and read in their responses. So don't assume anything. Attach relevant documentation, attach some images, attach videos and links as well. But don't just attach your responses and refer to the attached in the actual question. The judges love to see the videos, they love to see the images. As Michael said, they read a lot. So if they see a video or an image, it sort of breaks that up for them a little bit, and it does help stand your nomination out. And finally, ensure you follow the word limits. The portal won't allow you to actually submit it if you're over the word limit. So that's my tips from experience managing the awards. So I'm now going to actually show you a live demonstration of the awards portal and how to start your nomination. So what you'll start to do is go to nationalsafetyawards.com.au, and I'm just going to change my screen over and turn my webcam off so you don't have to view me. So yeah, head to the awards website, and the second last menu item, which you can see here, is enter here. This is where you're going to get that nomination guide, the hints and tips sheet, and the conditions of entry. As Michael said, it's actually a condition of entry that if your organisation is currently under investigation or has had a prosecution over the last couple of years, you're actually ineligible. So yeah, please read through all these documents, and then when you're ready, hit that submit nomination, and it will take you to the awards portal, which is this view you're seeing now. If you haven't previously registered or logged in, you'll need to create an account. So you can do that in the middle there under register. Just put your details there. When you hit register, you'll be asked a couple more additional questions, and you'll also get a confirmation email just to confirm your account. Once you've done this, you're able to return and log in. So if you just hit, once you log in, so this is the screen you're going to start your nominations from. There's a big blue button here, start nomination. So once you select that, that'll take you into starting your nomination. And this is where you're going to pick your categories. So each category, as you can see here, hopefully it's not going too quickly for you. Each category, that's where you select your category. Once you've done that, once you've inputted your organisation name and hit save and next, that's when you're going to activate the other tabs. So I'm just going to show you quickly now. And this is where you access that criteria. So this is where I highly suggest you jump in, select the category, and have a look at these criteria. Each of them outline, sort of give some tips on what the judges are looking for, and each of them show the word counts, which is just in the top right of each question. If you go over that word count, it becomes red, so it tries to make it pretty obvious. At the bottom of the page, this is where you've got save and next, save and close, preview, and you're ready. You can hit that green button to submit your nomination. The attachments tab is where I mentioned before. You can upload your videos, images, additional documentation. If you've got a link to maybe a secure video, you're able to put that in there. On the nominated detail, we just get some more information from you in terms of the nomination, and we also get the details for a second person. This is just in case we can't contact you when it comes around to, we're announcing the finalists and we can't actually get in contact with you. As I said, when you're ready to submit, go to the nomination, go to the bottom, and just hit that green submit nomination. If you've inputted everything correctly, then you'll see a screen that confirms your nomination, and you'll also receive a confirmation email. If you don't receive any of those, don't assume your nomination has actually been submitted. You can always email in to awards@nscafoundation.org.au, and then that way we can check for you as well. This is where also you'll see that you have in progress nominations. So you can see here I had one that I started a couple of hours ago just to show you. And you're actually able to go in and edit your submission right up until the submission deadline, which is 11:59 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time on Friday, the 18th of June. So you can see here, I've just put some details in, and then if I hit submit nomination, this is the screen you'll get to show you that you've actually put your nomination in. So that's a quick demonstration of the awards portal itself and how to use that. So as I mentioned, there was a couple of questions that came in before, so I can now get to those. So in from Narelle, we'll send out a copy of the recording of this webinar post. That way, any notes you can try to catch those up on. And again to Narelle, is there a draft nomination form you can view prior to starting submission so that we can prepare before commencing the submission? Like I said, I mentioned before, go into the portal itself straight away. You just only have to select your nomination and put in your organisation, and then you can access all the other tabs. So my suggestion is definitely to go in and do that. Right, then put it into a Word doc and then copy and paste it in once you're all complete. There's no other questions at this stage, so either everyone is pretty happy or you're still typing away. So I'll give you a little bit just to start doing that. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to bring back Michael and just ask one question.
Hello.
Hi, Michael. So you mentioned before, obviously the things that judges look out for. What's a common mistake you see that really doesn't then progress that person's nomination?
I think what I mentioned before was that the so what moment. You'll often read through a very good nomination, but there's very little data on what effect it had. It obviously sounds like it should have an effect, and it sounds like they've ticked all the right boxes, but it's either too early in the piece for them to tell us, or they just assume that we can see that it's made a difference. So that to me would be the big catch, is that definitely the so what.
Thanks, Michael. There are no other questions that have come through, so I'm going to wrap it up there. If you do have any questions post, please send these through. Okay, and we've got a couple of questions come in now, so I'll start going through these. So there's a question from Adrian here. He nominated for a couple of awards, obviously last year when the nominations opened, but we postponed. Just confirming, Adrian, that yes, these will carry across to 2021. I'm going to email anyone that does put it in. I am going to email everyone just to confirm that. So you won't need to resubmit those. And I asked the question of Michael there. We've actually had one of the other judges tuning in, answering. So from Marilyn Hubner, one of our other judges, she said one of the biggest mistakes people make is to actually not describe the link between the program, training or initiative and the outcome of the results. And yeah, that's a very good point, Marilyn, that the judges want to see that link of, all right, well, you put that, you put the program in place, but that linkage between that and the outcome and results. So thanks very much for that, Marilyn. And I believe, Doris, you've got a question. So I'm going to bring Doris back in from GIO. So Doris, I think you've got a question that everyone might...
So there's a new category this year, and yes, GIO is sponsoring that, the Best Return and Recovery at Work system. Have the judges had an opportunity to think about what they will be looking for from the nominations, the nominees?
All right, well, I'm going to bring Michael back in to answer that.
Yeah, thanks, Doris. Look, it'll be interesting to see the nominations we get in those categories this year, given what we've all been through in the last 12 months or so. There potentially could be some nominations around pandemic responses, but I think more generally that category, we're talking about return to work type initiatives, recovery and wellness type programs that have been successful. So if you think about GIO being our major sponsor as a workers' compensation organisation, we are looking to see how an organisation has worked well with their workers' compensation insurer, how they've thought outside the square, I suppose, in sort of actions and activities they can put in place to help their employees recover, still feel part of the workforce, and get back up and running as quickly as possible, I guess. They're the kind of things that stick out to me at the moment.
Okay, sounds good.
Perfect. Thanks, Michael. And yeah, I think being a brand new category, it's certainly going to be an interesting one. So, and I do have another tip for everyone out there. This has actually come through another one of the judges who is joining us today. Thanks very much, Shane, for jumping on. So Shane's just mentioned in terms of what the judges look for, they look for, did the program actually work, and how did you know it worked? So yeah, they definitely want to see that as well. So I am going to wrap it up there. Again, thank you everyone for tuning in. Best of luck to everyone submitting nominations. As I said before, if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out on awards@nscafoundation.org.au, and I'll be happy to help out. And if I need any assistance from the judges to help answer it, I'll definitely do so. So good luck to everyone, and we look forward to announcing the finalists in either late August or early September. Thanks very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.